Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. You started the show with limericks on Monday and Tuesday, Tony. Bet you can't come up with one more.
I'm Tony Kornheiser, and I call this one my life story. There once was a man who could write. People considered him bright. Sold his soul for TV, became bourgeoisie. Looks back on his choice with delight. Good, huh?
Yes,
good.
Except there's two things that betray you. One, you were already bourgeoisie, and two, you don't look upon anything with delight except a birdie. That's it.
Well, that allows me to have delight once every 3 months, because I'm such a terrible player. I don't get that many. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Thunder top the Nuggets, the PGA Championship starts tomorrow, and PK Subban joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with the Indiana Pacers closing out their series with Cleveland last night, beating Cleveland in Cleveland for the third time this series. Indiana was down 19 in the second quarter, and some of us who were watching thought this game was over then. Not so. Wilbon, do you see this 4-1 series result as more about the Pacers' success or the Cavs' failure?
Well, Tony, I'm going to go like 70-30, 70%, the Pacers' success, and offensively being so hard to guard because of pace. I mean, there's something inventive there. At a time where people complain, legitimately so, about the league being more copycat than ever and running the same stuff, a Rick Carlisle, a guy we have known forever, is a hell of a coach wearing a championship ring, and he doesn't run it. He's inventive, and his team is, and he's just got players in place that not everybody knows yet, but they are fun to watch. But I got to pin some of it on Cleveland. They won 64 games in the regular season, and teams that fit the profile of Cleveland, that not just win the games, but have a great plus-minus, those teams get to the finals 90% of the time. Yeah. And the Cavaliers haven't, and I understand there's some injuries, legitimate things that people are playing through. Donovan Mitchell labored last night through that game and had some huge moments to keep his team in it, but they weren't the team we saw healthy all season. But let me give a tip of the cap to the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, so this is a hard question for me because I'm one of those people that you're talking about who thought Cleveland could win the NBA championship. So based on that, I'm a little bit harder on Cleveland. Indiana, I believe, came back. 3 of these games are comeback wins, and I just thought that Cleveland lacked the will to hold off Indiana. I mean, that was my sense of it. I understand that there were some injuries on Cleveland, but, people are hurt a lot. It's just not the way it works. Because Cleveland won 64 games and Indiana only won 50. But I'm going to go against my type here, Mike. I'm going to try and be charitable. I'm not a charitable guy. I'm going to say it's mostly Indiana. And the same way that you feel. Because, you take Tyrese Halliburton off this team, and they're a team of unknowns. People might know Pascal Siakam from when he was with Toronto. But who are these people? Who are Nembhard and Neesmith? Who's Mathurin? When I think of Indiana, I still think, well, whatever. I still think of Reggie Miller. I still think of him. So
Reggie will like hearing that.
Let me give Indiana credit, and let me also say and remind people they were in the same position last year. They got to the conference finals last year. You mentioned, by the way, Donovan Mitchell. I don't know if you know this. 7th highest playoff average of all time. 28.3 this year, 29.6. And you know what? And he can't get out of the second round. No. 8 years in the playoffs and he can't get out of the second round. We'll stay with the NBA. The Oklahoma City Thunder beat Denver last night 112-105. But OKC was down by 9 with 10 minutes to go. Down by 8 with 8 minutes to go. They outscored Denver 34-19 in the fourth quarter, and they won despite Nikola Jokic getting 44 points and 15 rebounds. Wilbon, I believe you thought Denver would win this game. They're going home for 6. So do you expect this series to go the full 7?
Yeah, I do, Tony. I do. And while at the first day of the season, picked Oklahoma City, I'm still worried. Because Denver, they couldn't close last night. As great as the Joker was, he didn't have a lot of help. I mean, Murray had 28 points, but he had high-volume shooting night. It wasn't as efficient as he sometimes is in these playoff runs. But, Tony, this is a night where SGA looked like the MVP. He didn't have numbers that matched the Joker's, but he was clutch. He hit some huge shots. Yeah. So did Jalen Williams. They played like they play at home, and almost nobody else plays at home. But do I think that Denver's going to go home and get Game 6 and return this to OKC? Yes, I do. I'm fully expecting a Game 7 in this series.
I'm not. I don't have any faith in. No, I don't have any faith in Denver's wins. They were miracle wins. There was a 3 at the buzzer. There was an overtime win. And I know they're going home. And I know there's a home court advantage, but not this year, Mike. Boston lost its first 2 games at home.
Yeah.
Cleveland lost 3 of its games at home. Minnesota and Golden State have each lost at home in this series. Oklahoma City and Denver have lost at home. In fact, Mike, road teams have won more games in this round of the playoffs than home teams. You mentioned that Joker didn't get a lot of help. No, he didn't get a lot of help. Listen to this. Jamal Murray, 10 of 27. That's high volume shooting and missing. 3 of 13 from 3. Michael Porter Jr., 1 of 7, 0 of 5 from 3. Christian Brown, 3 of 12 from the field, 2 of 8 from 3. Mike, the rest of the team that wasn't named Jokic was 11 for 53 on shots 4 feet out and longer.
Less than 20.
It just wasn't there. Wasn't there.
Yeah. No, I hear you, and everything you're saying is right. Oh, we've already seen a road team win a Game 7. Didn't the Warriors beat Houston like that? So I hear you. I'm just thinking, Tony, it's going to be a Game 7.
Okay.
I'm just thinking it. Let's move to tomorrow's start of the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow. Rory McIlroy won, of course, the Masters last month and has won tournaments at Quail Hollow 4 times, including just last year. Tony, how bullish then are you on Rory's chances to go 2 for 2 in this year's majors?
Okay, let's start with the fact that Quail Hollow is soaked. They've taken on a lot of rain, which means there's going to be no roll. It's all carry. Nobody carries the ball further than Rory McIlroy. This is a 7,623-yard course that's going to play like it's 8,000. So it's going to favor the big hitters like Rory McIlroy and like Scottie Scheffler. Do I think Rory will win? You mentioned that he's won 4 times in this course. It's very odd that, that a regular PGA Tour course would also host a major. That doesn't happen all that often. He also came in second once. Do I think he's going to win? Look, he can win. Before we get too carried away and hand him the trophy, let's just start with this premise. Winning the Masters was very important to Rory psychologically. And you and I and a lot of other people believed it would unlock the door to numerous more majors.
I do.
Right?
Yeah.
But what if, Mike, what if Rory is now satisfied because he's got the Masters and he's got the Grand Slam? What if he doesn't burn to win like we expect him to? That's all I'm suggesting.
Tony, that's a legitimate question, but I think we know the answer. Rory does burn to win, and he doesn't handle it the same churlish way at times that Tiger did or others, did in their careers. Rory is pretty affable. I think the pressure really is off of him. By the way, Jordan Spieth comes in here with some incentive. And how about the fact that Scheffler's never even played it other than, team event? Isn't that weird? That Scheffler hasn't played.
It is.
So I think that Rory, I'm not going to hand it to him. I just think we're looking at a top 5 finish, and the question is, does he get any break? Does it go his way? You mentioned the rain. It's got August conditions, in North Carolina, even though it's only May. God help us in the Mid-Atlantic. Now, you know what? I don't even want to come back there because I'm sure DC's like that too. It's just like enough. But I think that Rory, Tony, I think that having the pressure off trumps the dynamic which you mentioned, which is, well, does he burn? I think he burns enough, and with no pressure, man, if Rory can go through there freewheeling, I think it works in his favor.
I'm going to give you 3 guys who are big-time players. Figure in everybody's list. Rory, Scheffler, Justin Thomas. Would you take them or would you take the field in an event, or take the field in an event that is the least predictable of all the majors? The least predictable.
I'm going to do something that's going to shock you. I'm going to take them.
You're going to push.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
going
to
take them.
Not the field.
I'm going to take them.
Okay. All right. Let's take a break. Coming up, what's in store for the Panthers and Maple Leafs tonight after the testy finish to their last game? We're going to ask PK Subban.
We're also going to ask him what's working well right now for the Edmonton Oilers. Everything.
You know, there are more first-time winners at the PGA in a major than any other major, I think. But it's also got the deepest field. So, I mean, guys can come out from nowhere. Let's dig into the Stanley Cup playoffs with our great friend, ESPN hockey analyst PK Subban. PK, let's start with this. The Stars beat the Jets last night. They now have a 3-1 lead in that series. Do you hold out any hope for a comeback from the top-seeded President's Trophy team, Winnipeg?
Yeah, top-seeded or not, I mean, there was a lot of parity in the National Hockey League this year, and Dallas could have easily been one of the top teams in the league if not for injuries. And we see them get Heiskanen back, but for me, the difference is coaching. Scott O'Neill's done a great job with Winnipeg all season, but Pete DeBoer, I mean, I can't say enough great things about Pete DeBoer and what he's done coaching-wise. He coached against me in junior, did a phenomenal job with the Kitchener Rangers, going to the Memorial Cup all the way into pro, along with Steve Spott. He's done a phenomenal job. And the way that he's utilized this, listen, anybody can get the horses. You can give any coach the horses, but if you don't know how to coach them, if you don't know how to use them, you're not going to have success. And he's used those players phenomenally well. You think about Mikael Granlund having a hat trick last night. That's a depth player, right? Mikko Rantanen didn't score last night, right? Jamie Benn didn't score last night. Tyler Seguin didn't score last night. They got the goaltending, they got the defense, but they got the coaching. I think they close this thing out.
I'm really interested, PK, in Panthers and Leafs tied at 2 because there's bad blood. Starting, I guess, with Max Domi's hit on Alexander Barkov, and then Matthew Tkachuk indicating he's going to get William Nylander, whatever that means. What are you expecting?
Well, I think every star player on the Toronto Maple Leafs expected to have a target on their back, including Willie Nylander. I mean, hockey bloodlines in his family. I played against his dad. I don't think that's going to get him off his game. That kid's way too skilled and way too cold-blooded. In my opinion, he's probably the most clutch player on that team, and I expect him to have a big game tonight. They know why they targeted him. They know he's the guy that they got to isolate. You know, Austin Matthews, banged up or not, whether he's been banged up or not, hasn't scored yet in the series. So they want more from him. Mitch Marner, the same thing in their group, but everybody's kind of had their moment. Willie Nylander has been the target. I would expect things to get physical, but I'll tell you this, Tony Wilbon, if the Toronto Maple Leafs don't start this game on time, it could get ugly in Toronto for them. They got to start this game on time. Game 4 was complete dominance, even though I think Toronto's been the better team in this series. If they don't come out ready to fight from the drop of that puck, they could be embarrassed on home ice. And this team hasn't been embarrassed in a long time. They deserve to be in this position, but they have to find another level to their game. You can't be worried about what Florida's saying right now. Focus on the game and go play your best game right now. They need the best game of their lives tonight.
Well, it seems the Oilers have finally found that level of play that a lot of us have been looking for. They can close out the Golden Knights tonight. Are the Oilers just playing at a level, PK, that ultimately we thought they'd finally get to?
I got it. You want to talk about better teams? The Edmonton Oilers have flat out been the better team. And the reason why I say that is they've been taking it to the Vegas Golden Knights right from game 1. Vegas kind of came out and set the tone, and Edmonton tilted the ice and hasn't looked back. And you got to give their forwards credit. Their forwards have been leading the way with their forecheck. Adam Henrique stepping up. Their depth has stepped up. But Evander Kane has come in and been a physical force. I watched that last game. He smacked those guys around, both after the whistle, in between the whistles. I'm pretty sure he even got a lick on some guys in the parking lot after the game. He was all over them in front of the net. I'm being real about it. And Vegas didn't have an answer. So, you know, it's not difficult for me to see that the Edmonton Oilers are going to close this thing out. They deserve to do it. They've been the better team in this series. And now thinking about Mark Stone being out tonight, they're missing Brandon Saad. They're already missing a couple guys. They look banged up, Tony Wilbon. They look banged up. They don't look like the same team that I thought they were at the start of the playoffs. So it looks like Edmonton and Connor McDavid are going to have another crack at the conference finals.
All right, we'll get you out of here on this. This is personal for me because they're my Washington Capitals. Carolina Hurricanes can eliminate the Caps tomorrow night. The Caps have struggled in this series. Why have they struggled like this?
Well, Carolina's a good team. They're well coached. Rod Brindamore has them playing to their strengths. I had questions about their power play, their special teams, their ability to score goals. Well, we spoke about this. If you're going to fire 90 shot attempts, 100 shot attempts, 200 shot attempts at a team in a series, the puck's going to go in. And right now, Carolina's playing with that confidence. They're faster to pucks. They're faster to check. They're fine with defending. They don't mind defending and playing that hard checking game. That is their game. But now they know they're going to get to a man second, third, fourth looks every period. That's too much confidence for a team that struggles to score goals. Washington has handed them that confidence. So I don't know what Spencer Carberry's going to do, but within his system, he's going to have to shift things so that they play with the puck a little bit more. They're taking on way too much defense, and over time, even though Carolina doesn't score 5-6 goals a game, that erodes at your confidence. So Washington, I don't know if this series is over. I'm not going to go that far because they have the goaltending and the scoring, but they're going to have to tilt the ice back in their favor, and it starts with playing with the puck. Missing Ferravare in their back end, you can tell they're not playing with the puck as much, and you can't chase the game at this level.
PK, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you, PK. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Big games tonight. Thanks for having me on.
Wilbon, isn't that a great suit he's wearing? That's great.
That's
Tonight's
great.
doubleheader starts at 7 p.m. on ESPN. Let's take one last break. Still to come, a night full of walk-offs in baseball.
And will the Celtics and Warriors stay alive tonight? I mean, those are real teams fighting for their lives.
Not both, right, Mike? Not both.
No, not both.
No. Happy time, people. Happy 23rd birthday, Zach Edey. The Purdue All-American was the 9th overall pick in last year's NBA draft by Memphis. Edey had a credible rookie season, averaging 9.2 points and 8.3 rebounds in 21 minutes a game. Edey, who is Canadian, led Purdue to the NCAA final in his senior year, where the Boilermakers lost to UConn and Stephon Castle, who was this year's NBA Rookie of the Year. Edey led all scorers in that game with 37, led all rebounders with 10, led the nation in scoring with 25.2 points per game, and second in rebounding with 12.2. He's an old-fashioned center who plays down on the block, a vanishing breed.
Yeah, I mean, do people act like Zach Edey couldn't play? I voted him second. In my Rookie of the Year ballot, I watched him play in person. Luckily, Northwestern beat him a couple of times. Of course he can play. Do people pay attention to Steven Adams and some other bigs who have things to offer? There's value, please. Just dumb to think he couldn't play.
Happy anniversary, Philadelphia Flyers. On this day 15 years ago, the Flyers came back from a 3-0 first-period deficit to beat the Boston Bruins 4-3 in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. The Flyers had lost the first 3 games of the series, then defied the odds and won 4 in a row. They eventually made the Stanley Cup final, where they lost to the Blackhawks. What happened to the Flyers? They were a powerhouse team in the initial expansion of the NHL. They had Bobby Clark. They were the Broad Street Bullies. They won cups. They haven't made the playoffs the last 5 seasons. They finished 6th, 8th, 7th, 6th, and 8th in division. That's brutal.
Well, remember, all the traditional Northeast teams and Midwest, they didn't make it. The Red Wings, the Blackhawks, but also the Bruins, the Penguins. I mean, none of them made it. None of the Americans, Toronto and Montreal made it, but of the old teams, who made it?
A sudden happy trails to last night's games for the Red Sox, Royals, Marlins, Angels, and Yankees. We had 5 walk-off wins last night, the first 3 in a span of just 4 minutes. Javi Baez got things started with a 3-run homer to beat the Red Sox in 11. 2 minutes later, Isaac Paredes of the Astros hit one out to left to top the Royals. 2 minutes after that, Justin Turner of your Cubs, Wilbon, doubled down the left field line to beat the Marlins in Wrigley. Later, Fernando Tatis Jr. crushed a 2-1 game winner to beat the Angels. And finally, J.P. Crawford of the Mariners delivered an RBI single in the 11th to beat the Yankees.
Yeah, Tony, I didn't know it was that many. I only cared about one, the one that affects me. The Cubbies, Turner getting his first extra base hit of the season after joining the Cubs. So I was excited about that. We got to keep the Cardinals off of us. Started this already. I got a long summer of anxiety if the Cubs and Cardinals are doing this for the whole summer.
We hope in the Midwest people enjoyed that segment. Let's go to the
Good.
big finish.
Better than
the
the
Ravens
Nationals.
agreed to a 2-year extension with Derrick Henry worth $25 million guaranteed. Your thoughts?
Good. He's worth it. Cowboys, Commanders, Lions, Vikings. Those are the matchups on Christmas Day. You care about that?
Yeah, those are division games. And where am I going to go? I'm going to be sitting in front of a television set with snow outside. So sure, those are good games. The Dodgers put Roki Sasaki.
Hey, you care about that?
Yeah, those are division games. And where am I going to go? I'm going to be sitting in front of a television set with snow outside. So sure, those are good games. The Dodgers put Roki Sasaki.
Significant?
500? What is that? The Nats haven't been at 500, I don't know, in years. Last one, Knicks Celtics, Warriors T-Wolves tonight. Who you got?
Look, Tony, I think the Celtics are going to win. I know Jason Tatum's out, though. Everybody up here seems in part depressed over it. I get it, because I hate that he's injured. I think the Celtics win at home tonight and send this thing back to Madison Square Garden Friday. And I think the T-Wolves in that season as well for the Warriors.
We're out of time. We will try and do better the next time. Joe Scarborough, shout out. Thanks for watching.
I'm Mike Wilbon. We are bumped by golf. Until Monday, knuckleheads, you can get the PTI podcast on the app or Apple Podcasts. And now...